Hi.
Hola.
Hello.
Today's video is going to be about horror movies. Horror movie releases and ones that have already been released and our opinions and so on.
Oh, there'll be plenty of those in this video.
As you can tell, we have our guest, my son, Gabriella's brother, Eric, here today with us.
Hello, everyone.
Special guest.
The special guest.
Alright, so before we start anything horror related, we're gonna do the 3 state facts. First one is Las Vegas, Nevada has so many hotel rooms that if you slept in a different one every night, it would take you approximately 288 years to stay in them all.
Interesting.
Definitely a fun fact.
That is.
New Hampshire has a perennial presidential candidate named Vermin Supreme. He is known for wearing a boot on his head, and his campaigns are run on a platform of zombie apocalypse awareness, a free pony for every American, and a law requiring people to brush their teeth.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Okay.
And last but not least is Joseph Bonaparte, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. King of Naples and King of Spain, moved to Bordentown, New Jersey after his younger brother Napoleon was toppled from power.
Awesome. That is some interesting factos.
So,
let's get it going.
to begin, I have a list of probably about 40-some.
I don't remember what number
40,
you told
I
me.
think it was like 42 or 46 or something in there. Horror movies that either came out or are coming out, and yeah. So,
Before she starts, our clock is probably going to go off in about 5 minutes. So if you hear it, that's kind of like our key thing on our videos anymore. So if you hear music and chiming, it's the clock again.
alright, so the first horror movie that already came out a few days ago was called Immaculate. It came out on March 22nd of this year. And Immaculate is an American nun embarks. This is the description, sorry, forgot to mention that. It's an American nun embarks on a new journey when she joins a remote convent in the Italian countryside. However, her warm welcome quickly turns into a living nightmare when she discovers her new home harbors a sinister secret and unspeakable horrors.
Why is it that every time somebody moves to a new house, it's harbored by these spirits? Like, did you notice that that's like a pretty good storyline run over and over and over and over
Yeah,
again?
Eric, what do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's getting old.
Yeah, it's kind of like, didn't we hear that storyline before?
Yeah.
But it might be interesting, so there's your first one.
Alright, the second one is, I'm not going to keep on saying 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm just going to go on. Alright, so the next one is The First Omen. It is released on April 5th of this year, and it is about...
I don't have that on this list. And this is
I
the
do.
list you told me.
Just give me a moment.
How do you not have that on this list?
I don't know. That's the one you
I got it.
It's right here. I got it.
Okay. Okay, I got it.
Okay.
The First Omen, then, which, is that a sequel or prequel? Or
It's a
what?
prequel.
It's a
It comes before the original.
Okay. So, now later on in this video here, Eric will be covering, like, sequels, prequels, reboots, remakes, whatever you want to call them. The First Omen, it says, a woman starts to question her own faith when she uncovers a terrifying conspiracy to bring about the birth of evil incarnate in Rome. Which, anybody's familiar with the First Omen, you'll understand what that's all about. So we'll touch that again later on with the prequel, sequels, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I'll save that for
It's in a
later.
different order for some reason, but it's the same list, it's just in a different order.
Well, I want that list, though, and I don't know how you got it, because I want us to be able to follow.
Sorry, everybody.
We'll be right with you.
It's okay.
We were prepared before we started, but then somehow it didn't do what we wanted.
That's why I like this podcast, like especially being a part of it. Like you expect the unexpected, so I mean anything can happen during this.
It's still not the right. It's the right list. It's just yours
we'll
is
have
weird.
to pull up yours and then I'll have to read on yours.
yeah,
So
you-
it's just that simple. It's that simple.
Gotta love Google, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, that's right. I forgot to mention that also. These are all off of Google. So if it's not a horror movie, it's not my fault. I'm not stupid. Google is the one who told me that it is a horror movie, so I wrote it down because, you know, we were running out
Probably
of time.
brought to you by the same people that think Die Hard is a Christmas movie, which it is not. Okay, go on to the next one on the list.
The next one is Tarot, T-A-R-O-T. It is released on May 3rd of this year, and it is about... Friends unwittingly unleash an unspeakable evil trapped within a cursed deck of tarot cards. One by one, they come face to face with fate, racing against death to escape the future foretold in their readings.
Wasn't there something like that one time before about tarot cards? I know there was Ouija.
I think that was closer to the second
Something.
Ouija movie, Spirit of Evil. I think that was the...
Yeah.
So,
But who would have thought tarot?
sounds
Tarot
interesting.
cards.
Yeah.
It does sound interesting though. So next on the list.
Holy
Okay, that was
shit,
her
baby.
crazy cat. Okay,
He's got the zoomies. Ew, look at how creepy he is up there.
Pee-wee.
Oh my god, his eyes are like red.
Okay, go
He's
ahead.
getting into this.
We're
He's
losing
getting into
track.
this
There's my clock.
horror
We're
movie
losing
thing.
track.
He's like,
Okay, so evil with evil. Okay.
alright. The next one is called Abigail, which ironically is my sister's name, so that makes sense. Sorry, Abby. I lost it. Give me a second. Google's being stupid again.
It's right there.
Wait, what is this?
Yeah, why is it?
That's Return of Silent Hill. I'll be talking about that one here in a bit.
Alright, well.
Okay, Abigail, did you tell the release date?
Oh shit, no I didn't. Sorry. Today's hectic. And if it wants to actually load, would be a nice, you know, thing as well. Today's just not. There we go.
Okay.
Alright, Abigail releases on April 19th of this year.
Now, if we see one of these movies, if we've already seen them when we go down, we're going to stop long enough to tell what we thought. So there could be possibly spoilers in with it, but we'll give you a warning ahead of time, and we're going to give you our opinion and so forth and so on. Abigail. And they do have trailers. If you go on the site, you can get the trailer for any one of these movies. This one's a group of would-be criminals kidnaps the 12-year-old daughter of a powerful underworld figure. Holding her for ransom in an isolated mansion, their plan starts to unravel when they discover their young captive is actually a bloodthirsty vampire.
Another vampire
There they go with the
movie.
vampire movies again, and we'll get into that later.
Yeah, that kind of doesn't sound too overly impressive, if I'm being honest.
Alright, the next one is called Smile 2. It is released on October 18th of this year.
One day before my birthday.
And it is about the...
Now, wait a minute. There is a Smile 1 out, guys. So if any of you saw Smile 1, now she didn't see it, but her sister Abby did see it, and Chase. You didn't see
I
it,
did
right?
not see it.
And
I have no
I did
desire
not
to
see
see
it.
it.
So this is a second part of there is a Smile 1 out.
Which
So.
I think, I could be completely wrong, but I think it's about a truth or dare game. Isn't it?
I don't know.
I think I'm completely wrong.
I think
I think the
you're
fact
wrong.
that you're confusing with something is not a good sign
Yeah.
for the policeman.
That's true, too.
Oh
That's true.
no. Alright, let's see. It says the Untitled Smile sequel is an upcoming American psychological supernatural horror film written and directed by Parker Finn. It serves as a direct sequel to Smile, which in turn is based on Finn's short film Laura Hasn't Slept. The film stars Kylie Gellner, Naomi Scott, Lucas Gage, and Rosemary DeWitt. And that's literally all the description is, so
Yeah.
that's really helpful, and that's gonna
I'm
make
sure
me
if
wanna-
you've seen Smile 1, you're familiar with it. You're familiar with this then, so.
Alright, well, that's a spoiler to
Okay, so yeah, we don't want to give a spoiler.
one.
We haven't even seen it yet. So.
I just looked up the plot because it said plot, and it just gave away a very essential part of the first one. So,
okay. So the next one, we're not even going to go the bio or anything on it because it fits in with what he's doing. It's called Return to Silent Hill, so we're going to skip that one.
I got plenty to say about that.
And
the next one is Mickey's Mousetrap. Don't know when the release date is because for some reason Google decided that it was going to not. Mom, it's not a. Oh yeah, it is. Whoopsies.
okay, Mickey's Mousetrap.
It is sometime this year. Sorry.
Yeah, Mickey Mousetrap is an upcoming Canadian independent comedy slasher, directed by Jamie Bailey from a screenplay written by Simon Phillips. And that's basically all the write-up says. Is there a trailer? I didn't even see a trailer for it, so I don't know. Mickey's, I think it's just going to be dippy. I'm going to be honest with you.
Sorry.
That is not one that I would personally want to see.
So that's what the write-up
Premise: when a group of friends sneak into an amusement arcade after closing, they end up being trapped with a masked killer dressed as Mickey Mouse, who decides to play a game of his own, which they must survive.
Boy, that doesn't sound like Five Nights at Freddy's
Okay,
and Wonderland,
so-
Willy's Wonderland, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Oh,
So
Lord.
they kind of get dippy sometimes when they're doing these movies.
I'm sorry, there's just sometimes where you just gotta, I read some of these write-ups and I just gotta shake my
Those
head.
two, Eric will, well, those three, Eric will discuss, but you can
Yeah,
say
I'm not
all of
gonna.
them.
The Conjuring 4 is coming out in either June or July of 2025. Not this year, so there will be a few on this list that are coming out next year too. So sorry for not disclosing that too, but
Of course, that's also subject to change because you don't know whether or not there's going to be production issues or
That is
anything
true.
like that. So
that is true. But he will be getting into that because that's part of series, and if you don't know what the Conjuring series is, then
what are you doing? Watch them.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Alright, the next one is Winnie the Pooh.
Well, that, as I said, those two, just say them when they come out, because those are
yeah,
gonna
that's what
come,
that's what I'm terrible.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see what it's called because I didn't.
I think it's just
Blood
called
and
Winnie the
Honey
Pooh,
too.
Blood and Honey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, which I only put Winnie and the Pooh 2, so it pretty much the same thing.
right?
Yeah, I mean.
But it's coming out on
Tomorrow.
tomorrow. It's coming out tomorrow because this is
I'm sure the 4 people that are waiting to see that movie is awfully excited about it.
Yeah, well, we did see that movie, so when he gets into the series of movies, we'll discuss that.
This is
So,
being recorded
yeah, so-
on the night of the 25th, so it's coming out on the
Tomorrow, right.
26th, which is tomorrow. Just to disclose that little tidbit of information. Oh my god, I didn't press the trailer!
Oops.
Get out of here. Alright, let's try this again. The next one is A Quiet Place Day 1. It is being released on June 28th of this year. And it's pretty much just another Quiet Place movie. So he'll get into that
he'll
as well.
get into that too, if anybody's familiar with the Quiet Place movies.
The next one is called Long Legs. It's released on July 12th of this year. And it's about FBI agent Lee Harker is assigned to an unsolved serial killer case that takes an unexpected turn, revealing evidence of the occult. Harker discovers a personal connection to the killer and must stop him before he strikes again.
So that one might be pretty good. I mean,
It still kind of sounds like same old, though.
well, see, that's what the problem is. A lot of those, they have a good storyline and a good plot that goes with it, but somehow, somewhere in there, they kind of veer off, and it's like, did I
Doesn't
watch
mean-
that whole movie for it to end that way or for it to go in that direction? Which we can discuss with some of the sequels
Yeah.
and prequels, so.
Alright, and the next one is called The Watchers.
That's so
and
serious,
Google is being stupid again. I actually don't think it's part of a series.
I thought there were, there was
no.
other Watchers.
There is, but I think this is its own movie.
You know what? We're thinking of the Watcher that had.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, this is its own movie. It's called The Watchers. It is released on June 14th of this year.
And it does have Dakota Fanning in it if you're a big fan of Dakota Fanning. So
and if you don't know who Dakota Fanning is, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
That's all the description is.
Yeah, so. Okay, the next one.
Do the description. You need to read it.
It just says, mysterious creature stalks a young artist and 3 strangers in an Irish forest.
Yeah, there's not much write-up about it.
I don't know, but like I said, it does have Dakota Fanning in it. She's one hell of a great actress, just like her sister Elle, but she's been in some questionable movies, so we'll just have to wait and see. That would be one we would probably watch simply because she's in it.
She's one of those actresses that elevates everything she's in. Even if the movie that she's in isn't great, she's able to lift it somehow. So
I agree.
The next one is called Cuckoo. It's released.
It's cuckoo.
Cuckoo. Cuckoo. Whatever. I can't read. It's released on May 3rd of this year, and it is about
a kook.
A 17-year-old Gretchen reluctantly leaves America to live with her father at a resort in the German Alps. Plagued by strange noises and bloody visions, she soon discovers a shocking secret that concerns her own family.
I'd go to the German Alps.
I wonder if it involves a cuckoo
I
clock.
could have just done that.
As long as it has nothing to do with like a cult or zombies or any of that
We could have
nonsense.
just done this the whole time.
Well, then we can do that the whole time. Okay.
Next one. You can say this one because I can never say it right.
The next movie is Nosferatu. It is supposed to be released this year, December 25th, Christmas Day. If you're not familiar with Nosferatu, many years ago, it was one of the original vampire movies that came out.
Yeah. Back in the 1930s, I think.
It was old. If you're into real classic vampire, right now some people look at it and say, boy, that's dippy. But at that time period, that was a big thing back then. And he is rather creepy. And for that time era, he would have got to you. But he's an old-time vampire. And the write-up just simply says, an ancient Transylvanian vampire stalks a haunted young woman in the 19th century Germany.
Kind of like the original. Yeah.
So basically, if you like vampire movies, watch it.
And it has Willem Dafoe in it, one of my favorite actors. So
I'm thinking, if you like the original, if anybody's watched, I watched it. I can't really tell you too much about it.
Bill Skarsgård in it too.
It has. And Johnny Depp's daughter, Lily Rose.
There you go.
But if you watch the old-time Nosferatu, knowing that Willem Dafoe and that's in this one, I'm going to say if you're a big vampire person, watch it. Because I'm going to say the effects and everything and storyline's probably going to be pretty darn good in it. So go catch it.
Alright, the next one is Beetlejuice. It is released on September 6th of this year as well. And obviously it's a new version of Beetlejuice.
And they do have the trailer out on it, and we watched it. It looks like it's going to be pretty good.
Oh, I loved it.
So, of course, it has Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, Jenna Ortega. For anybody that don't know, is going to be playing her daughter in it.
And this is the write-up. The write-up is 3 generations of the Dietz family return home to Winter River after an unexpected family tragedy. Still haunted by Beetlejuice, Lydia's life soon gets turned upside down when her rebellious teenage daughter discovers a mysterious portal to the afterlife. When someone says Beetlejuice's name 3 times, the mischievous demon gleefully returns to unleash his very own brand of mayhem.
And if you watch the original, you'll understand the whole Beetlejuice.
Which I'll talk a little bit more about Beetlejuice.
Yeah, that goes with his, so...
The next one
goes with his too.
Another sequel. It's Beetlejuice. It's Saw 11?
Yep.
Yeah. It's in it's X1.
I don't know why. I'll read the write-up for that here real quick.
Well, I can probably just pull it up right here.
Eric can get that
Okay.
one. Just let him go ahead.
Yeah.
So, Saw 11 is scheduled to come out September 27th of this year. And it's saying, it's all speculation right now. There's not really a whole lot going released about this particular movie, which I apologize for bad English there, but it says that this could be a prequel-like exploration of John Kramer, or a direct sequel to the events of Spiral with Return of Deadly Traps. So if it goes more, actually, I'm just gonna.
Yeah, we'll pick it
Yeah,
up when you actually start covering.
Because I'm gonna
those,
start
yeah.
talking, and I'm gonna,
Yeah.
So I'll talk more about that
because
later.
when we get to Eric here, after we cover this list, we're gonna tell you what we think about the sequels and prequels, what we actually saw on them. Some of them that we think was just a waste of movie film, and
yeah, we'll
and
take
good
a bit
things
of a
like
deeper
that.
dive in it. That way, we did like she just said. We'll give our opinions and thoughts and.
Okay, the
whatnot.
next one on the list.
The next one is called In a Violent Nature. It is released on May 31st of this year, and it is about.
Says when a group of teens takes a locket from a collapsed fire tower in the woods, they unwittingly resurrect the rotting corpse of Johnny, a vengeful spirit spurred on by a horrific 60-year-old crime. The undead killer soon embarks on a bloody rampage to retrieve the stolen locket, methodically slaughtering anyone who gets in his way. So this one kind of sounds like one of the Slaughter movies.
You know what that kind of sounds like a little
sounds
bit?
good. It sounds good.
It sounds a little bit like Hellraiser, but without like Pinhead and the Cenobite.
It also sounds a little bit like I think the one was called The Box. There was a
Is
movie
it-
I think it was called The Box.
Or was it the Box, or was it called the Cube?
I think it was called The Cube.
It was one of those.
It had something to do with the Box.
Yeah, it sounds familiar to
You're
that.
probably
so-
right. It probably is the box.
It probably.
You're
It
right
probably.
about
I mean,
literally
I know what
everything.
she's talking about, but like I don't know what it's called.
Okay, the next one on the list.
The next one is Terrifier 3. Yay.
I'm not even going to give it the benefit to read the write up or excuse me, or even like Gabriella even give you, because I'm telling you, he's going to cover it.
It comes out on October 25th of this year.
That's probably going to be the most encouraging thing you hear from us on the Terrifier. Let's just put
Probably,
it that
yeah.
way, because really, we'll have a lot to say about that, believe me.
The next one is Night Swim. Now, we've already seen this movie, and I thought it was pretty good. But it came out on January 5th. And it's about... It says, forced into early retirement by a degenerative illness, former baseball player Ray Waller moves into a new house with his wife and 2 children. He hopes that the backyard swimming pool will be fun for the kids and provide physical therapy for himself. However, a dark secret from the home's past soon... Don't know why I said it like that. Soon unleashes a malevolent force that drags his family into the depths of inescapable terror.
You can start, and I'll jump in.
And then I'll jump in.
And Eric can.
Alright, so Night Swim. It was a good movie. There was one part about it, not to give any spoilers or anything.
Well, we will be giving some spoilers, but that,
We'll
Well, yeah,
have a
it already
disclaimer
came out.
somewhere where
yeah,
they're like, hey,
yeah.
you can fast forward to
If
this,
we have
such
to, if
and
it's going to
such.
be pertinent to what we're saying about it, just so beware.
Okay, so spoilers. It already said he has, the father has a terminal illness because he's a baseball player, and they moved into this house because he wanted the pool to help him with therapy for his bones and stuff to heal and everything very well. Well, it doesn't quite say how he got this illness. It just says, like, that he got it and that he's trying to help it. The plot does not say how exactly it happened, but it kind of, in part of the movie, is like, it might have happened, he might have, like, swung the bat too hard and fell down or something, because it has to do with
Was it
his leg.
degenerative? That's something that happens over the course of time. That's degenerative.
Yeah, but it could have been
But-
because he was, like, hitting too hard or something. He, like, stretched a muscle or something. I'm not sure, because the plot was kind of a little messed up in that spectrum.
It's one of those movies, if you watch it, you're going to like it, but you're going to ask questions like the son in the movie. There's some odd stuff about the son, and they really don't go into explaining
Oh, hi, Pete.
what is off about him. And it's the type of movie that you have thoughts going in your head. Hey, this might be what it means, and maybe it means this, and you find yourself looking up explanations. No, you can't have my coffee, dude. And looking up to see, get some answers, because it kind of leaves you with questions when you watch the movie. So it's one of those.
But yeah, it's just. I did not think that the writing on it was very good, especially with what you and Gabba are saying, especially with the degenerate, because I didn't even read the write up to the movie before I watched the movie. I thought he suffered an injury. I did not get the.
And that is it. You didn't
That's
know
poor writing.
until later on. You didn't know. Well, when he went to see the doctor, even then, when she was treating him,
Yeah.
She didn't make it perfectly clear. Was he treating him for an injury that he sustained in playing baseball, or was she treating him because of this degenerative illness that he had? So that's one of the questions that was arisen by it.
Yeah, and it's and I'm not one of those. I'm not saying that they need to spell it out for us exactly what happened, what the story of each of the characters is. But there's a way to rate your characters where you can imply it and it makes sense. And I think from that perspective, it was very poorly written. The character development was poor in that movie, and I just felt like, also too, it just felt like the movie as a whole, you just want just a little bit more.
Yeah. It's a good movie. I'd say see it, go watch it, but then I think you'll know what we're talking about. It leaves questions that you want to have answered at the end.
I've seen better, but I've seen worse. I'm not gonna say,
Absolutely.
The next one is called Sting. It is released on April 12th of this year, and it is about...
Sting is Charlotte is a rebellious 12-year-old girl who finds a tiny spider in her rundown apartment building. She keeps it in a jar. Sounds like Vecna
her
from
name is
Stranger
friggin'
Things.
Charlotte too.
But it should soon start to grow at a monstrous rate and develop an insatiable appetite for blood. As her neighbors begin to disappear, Charlotte and her family find themselves in a desperate fight for their lives against a ravenous arachnid with a taste for human flesh.
That kind of sounds a little bit like arachnophobia, a little
Or
bit.
that sounds like freaking Little Shop of Horrors.
With the plant.
Yeah.
Feed me, Seymour.
Yeah, so
Feed me.
yeah. Might be worth. I mean, it's one of those movies.
If you're afraid of spiders.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit, but we'll watch it. And when we start watching some of these movies as the course of the year goes, we'll come back and we'll tell you what we think about them. And let us know if you like us doing the horror movie thing or any type of other. We'll get to that later on at the end. We don't want to take up too much time, so we'll get there later.
Alright, the next one is Witchboard. It doesn't say the actual release date. It just says that it comes out sometime this year.
Now that one is also going to be in Eric's department because that is going to be a remake.
It is going to be a remake.
Okay, so we'll cover that with Eric.
It's a remake of the 1986 film.
Yeah, so we'll cover that with Eric. We won't even, because we'll just cover it then.
I don't know how to say that one.
Arcadian.
Okay, that's what I thought. I get bad with words sometimes. Arcadian is the next one, and it is released on April 12th of this year. And it is, the write-up is...
It does have...
Oh, yeah, it stars Nicolas Cage, and the write-up is, in the near future on a... Decimated Earth, Paul and his two sons find tranquility by day but terror by night when ferocious creatures awaken and consume all living souls on their path. When Paul is nearly killed, the boys come up with a desperate plan for survival. Using everything their father using everything their father taught them to keep him alive.
It almost sounds like a Home Alone deal against some evil shit going on there. Doesn't it?
Sounds like
That kind of does, yeah.
I'd watch it because Nicolas Cage is in it.
Yeah.
Why am I stuttering so much now? Nicolas Cage is in it.
He's in it.
Alright, the next one is called Alien
Romulus. This is one I'm going to be talking quite a bit about later.
Yeah, I don't really know too much about it. I'm not even going to read the write-up because he'll cover that when we go into the series.
Yeah. And I'm a huge fan of the Alien movies, so yeah.
I am too. So
we'll have plenty to say about Alien Romulus.
It's released on August 16th of this year, and that's all I get to say.
Yeah.
For now. I couldn't find like anything on this one, so I skipped it.
Okay.
The next one is I Saw the TV Glow, and it is released on May 3rd of this year, and it is about.
Let me see if there's anybody we know. Okay, I'm not. Okay, it says a classmate introduces teenage Owen to a mysterious late-night TV show. A vision of a supernatural world beneath their own. In the pale glow of the television, Owen's view of reality begins to crack. So it almost sounds like if you get Poltergeist and the upside down from Stranger Things, and you mix them together.
Probably, yeah. Or it could just be they're just exposing him to Adult Swim from Cartoon Network.
Rick and Morty. The next one is called Maxine with 3 X's. It is released on July 5th of 2024, and it says it's a horror movie. It says it's a slasher.
It says it's the final installment, though, of a trilogy, so it's an X trilogy. X trilogy following X and Pearl. So I don't know.
We're probably not going to talk about that one, but it's.
Yeah.
I'm just saying
I'm not
that
going to talk about it.
It's released on July 5th of this year.
So if you're excited about Maxine, that's great, but we're not going to say.
Yeah, you can look that one up on your own. It just, yeah.
The next one is called Stream. It doesn't have a particular date of when it's being released, just sometime this year. And
it really doesn't say anything on it.
Hold on, let me try to find something. Shit.
Nope.
Well,
but I can tell you this much, though. She'll see if she can find it in just a second. If you like the older movies, like the ReAnimator and stuff like that, or the old
ReAnimator is fantastic.
What's the one with Dee Wallace and when she's turned into a werewolf?
Howling.
The Howling. If you like the old Howling movies and the old ReAnimator movies and stuff like that, it does have Jeffrey Combs in it.
Ooh.
It has Danielle Harris in it. It has Dee Wallace in it. Tim Reed.
Danielle Harris was a little girl from the older Halloween movies.
Yeah. So, it has a pretty decent cast in it. It's probably going to be well worth watching.
I would watch it.
So she's going to see if she can find what it's about.
Oh, Jeffrey Combs had me sold. That dude is like a freaky
Yeah, Jeffrey Combs
guy.
is one hell of a good actor. And if you, like I said, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the ReAnimator series. If you want to talk about some intense stuff and some good gore, good effects, it's the movie to watch, like the Hellraisers.
That was back when horror movies were done fantastically.
Yeah, and the effects were amazing. You didn't have to worry about some stuff that looked like melted wax.
Yeah.
It was so.
Yeah, terrifying.
All right, so this is the summary of it. From IMDb.
Do you want to read the summary of the whole movie, though? Because that'll be kind of like a spoiler. I don't know.
I probably wouldn't.
I would just say the movie's called Stream. It has Jeffrey Combs, Dee Wallace in it, and I just.
Let me type in description. Calm down.
Well, we have other on the list.
I know, and I'm not gonna take long. I'm usually pretty good with this. Where does that?
And while she's looking, like the classic ReAnimator movie, that's like one of my all-time favorite horror movies.
It is good.
And then the second part, which is From Beyond, which is totally different from... It's different from ReAnimator, but it's kind of along the same line. But it does tie-in. You'll have to watch the movie to
give a
find
little
out
bit
what's
of a like spoiler on it, it involves stimulating the third eye.
Yeah.
And so that's about all I can say. And reanimation of body parts, which gets more than body parts, gets to the extremity, but not like in a Frankenstein type sense. But
So it
yeah,
says it's
you
a
have to watch
summary,
it.
but it's not really. It's just the description of it. That's the summary right there.
What about synopsis?
No synopsis.
So if we do the summary, it's basically going to tell the story.
Yeah.
So let's
Yeah,
just kind of.
we'll move
It
on.
doesn't
from there.
though. It really doesn't. It's
Yeah, well, we'll just move on because we got other movies to cover.
Okay, she wants me to read it. The summary. So if this is a spoiler, we're sorry, but if you want to watch, stream.
It's not. It's literally about.
It says
the movie.
Roy and Elaine Keenan find themselves separated from their family and decide that something must be done. Roy puts his work on the back burner, and the two seize the opportunity to relive past vacations.
See, that's not a spoiler. No, don't read that part. Just that.
So
That.
basically, then when they go, shit happens and all that good stuff. But whatever.
Yeah. So that's.
So
That wasn't a.
okay.
That wasn't a spoiler.
Okay, next.
Next one is Lisa Frankenstein.
I saw a trailer for this.
It is released on. It already came out on February 9th of this year. And we still haven't seen it. But it's about a misunderstood teenager and a reanimated Victorian corpse embark on a murderous journey together to find love, happiness, and a few missing body parts.
So it sounds like the Bride of Frankenstein.
It's.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the impression I got from the
Yeah.
trailer.
I've seen trailers of
Yeah.
it. It looks.
Yeah.
I would not watch it.
I
If
don't
you
wanna
want
see that.
kind of like a modern day version of the Bride of Frankenstein, there's a movie for you right there.
Next one is called Wolfman. It is released on October 25th of this year. And
Is that one that you have on your list? The
I do.
Wolfman? So we'll let Eric cover that one.
it's a reboot of the 1941 film
Yeah.
of the Wolfman.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. The next one is The Crow. This isn't a horror movie, but for some reason it was listed as a horror movie on Google. So
This
I
is
added
also one for Eric, I think, because
Oh, I
isn't
have a-
this a remake? Or
Yeah. Oh,
a
no, I do
reboot?
have opinions about this.
Okay,
so yeah.
So you don't want me to
No,
say
because this is
okay.
going to be on Eric's list. That's going to be a reboot or remake. So.
Okay, The Crow is released on June 7th of this year.
Another one.
Quiet
Eric's.
Place Part 3, he's also going to get into that one. It's released on June 28th of 2025. Not to get it confused with the other Quiet Place that apparently isn't Part 3 for some reason. Who knows? Next one is called Presence. It came out on January 19th of this year. And it is about
2024 American psychologist thriller film directed by Steven Soderbergh and written by David Koepp.
Let me see if I can find any actual information on this. I hate that it doesn't have descriptions.
Storyline showcases a suburban house inhabited by a mysterious entity. That's all I'm going to give you because it really doesn't say how much. We're not going to, because we still have probably maybe 20 more on this list before we get to Eric's.
Where was I? Was this one? Yeah. Alright, the next one is called The Home. It doesn't have a release date. It just says sometime in 2024.
Same thing.
It says it's another American psychological horror thriller film. So,
Probably about
Do with
somebody
that what you
breaking
want.
in a house or something.
the next one is called Civil War. It is released on April 12th of this year. Again, not a horror movie, but it was on Google, so
it's kind of along the same line. I watched a trailer of it. It is kind of like Purge-ish. It's almost like a what-if movie, like what would happen in
I
a
really
society.
wish people learn how to
Mhm.
separate horror from thriller.
Yeah, this one says...
Yeah, this is not a... Yeah, Civil War is not a horror
No.
movie.
This one actually has a description, thank God. It says, in dystopian future America, a team of military embedded journalists races against time to reach Washington, D.C. before rebel factions descend upon the White House.
And it does sound kind of like a Purge type movie, so.
And it has Kirsten Dunst in it.
The next one is called Blink Twice. It is released on August 23rd of this year.
Now, there was a movie out called Blink. I know that. So I'm wondering if this ties in with Blink.
You think it might be a sequel?
I don't think it is, because it doesn't say anything about being a sequel. It would have said that in, like, the write-up.
Because I think I have heard of a movie called Blink.
There was one called Blink. This one says, and you said the release date on it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This one says, when tech billionaire Slater King meets cocktail waitress Frida at his fundraising gala, he invites her to join him and his friends for a dream vacation on his private island. Boy, well, we haven't heard that plot line before. Wild nights blend into sun-soaked days and everyone's having a great time. Until strange things start to happen. As Frida begins to question her reality, she'll have to uncover the truth if she wants to make it out
This just
of this
sounds...
party alive.
This literally just sounds like Knives Out.
Or like any other type of, like a psychological horror movie. I mean, deserted island, people having fun, not thinking twice of what... people really need to start thinking of something else.
Now,
for these
if you're a
horror
big
movies.
fan of Channing Tatum, he is in that movie.
I mean, he's not a bad actor.
Yeah,
I mean, he's
so-
not one of my favorites.
Well,
but
A lot of
personally.
women go, Channing
He was good in The Lost City. I thought he was awesome in that movie.
So, if you're a big fan of his, there's a movie for you.
Ladies go, ooh.
Next one is called Blade. It is,
Is that a remake?
Yeah, it's also Marvel too. It's a remake of the Wesley Snipes movie. made
We're
back
not
in the
even going to
mid-90s.
go, like, if you're
it's released on November 7th of
Yeah.
2025.
If you're into Blade, the older Blade movies, there's one for you. You're already familiar with what they're about. So.
All it says is the further adventures of vampire
Blade.
hunter Blade.
Yeah, so.
So,
Yeah, I'm probably not even really gonna talk about it, to be honest.
this is one that already came out. It's called Handling the Undead. It came out on February 9th of this year. And it is about Stockholm 2002. A storm shatters the living and awakens the dead. All those who have been missing for 2 months come back to life, for the family's hope mingles the horror with horror.
It almost sounds like a little bit of a Night of the Living Dead thing when the rain came down and reanimated everybody.
Yeah. And then one of those like, oh, we haven't seen that before.
Exactly.
This one already came out. It is called It's What's Inside, and it came out on January 19th of this year, and it's about...
It's what's...
Oh, Mom.
No.
Don't press back.
No.
Oh, man.
I bumped it.
Oh,
I
man.
wanted to see, because I'm blind.
What was it? Was this one?
Yeah.
Let's see. It really doesn't. It just says who's written by.
I think that the what I was going to read did have a description, I think.
It doesn't. It's the same thing.
Okay, let me see if I can touch it again. Like she said, it doesn't really have a description, but it says it stars Brittany O'Grady, James Morosini, Alicia Debnam Carey, Devin Terrell, Gavin Leatherwood, Rena Hardesty, Nina Bloomgarden, and David W. Thompson, if you know who any of those people are.
I can honestly say
Which
I
I
don't.
have no idea of any of them, but wish we could
There might be
tell you
some
more.
fans out there of those particular individuals. I don't know.
This one already came out also. It's called Skeletons in the Closet. It came out on January 24th of this year. And it's about you can say that one because the other one.
Okay, Skeleton's Claws, that a woman becomes possessed by an evil spirit after she saves the life of her terminally ill daughter. Let's see if it has anybody. Cuba Gooding Jr. is in that one. And Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard is a good actor. He was the cop from the one with the brave one with Jodie Foster.
Okay. I thought his name sounded familiar. So if you're a big Cuba Gooding Jr. fan, right there you go.
Well, Cuba Gooding Jr. has been he's been having some legal issues. He's one of those that's been kind of been in, like, little shady. So I'm not sure if he has any more fans out there yet. If you still like the guy, then that's up your alley.
Alright, there's only a few more, so bear with us. This one's called Trap. It comes out on August 2nd of this year. And it says it's an upcoming American thriller film directed and written by M. Night Shyamalan. It stars Josh Hartnett and Hype.
Haley Mills is in it, which is
Shaquilla Salkia I don't fucking know.
Celica?
Yeah, we do apologize for butchering the name.
Yeah, so it doesn't say much.
It's just, if you like M. Night Shyamalan movies, there's one for you. It's called Trap.
The mastermind that gave us the live-action Avatar movie.
Well, here's the thing with M. Night, before we continue. He has good movies, but his movies are a hit and miss. He can't be consistent. For every good movie he has, he comes out with two that's not good. So he can't be consistent. And since he likes focusing on, like, Philadelphia, PA, and he has to have that featured in every one of his movies, and he has to have the color red featured in every one of his movies for some reason. It's kind of like...
The last movie he made that I actually liked was The Village. Like, all the ones after that, like The Happening and the Avatar
old or whatever it was called. Wasn't that an movie?
That
movie, I'm telling you what, sucked beyond sucking.
And there's also that End of the World one that had Ron Weasley in it.
I don't know.
I forget what it's called, but that one was awful too.
Okay.
No, actually, I take that back. The last M. Night Shyamalan movie that I actually liked was Glass. I forgot that was an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah, Glass was good.
That one was pretty good. But like his later movies, like from the live-action Avatar on.
Well, that one had Samuel L. Jackson in it, right? He
and
played
Bruce
Glass.
Willis and James McAvoy.
So.
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Alright.
People like that.
Next one. This one's called Your Monster. It already came out on January 18th. I can't read my own writing. I think that's an 8. Of this year. And it is an American romantic comedy horror film written and directed by a whole bunch of people and so on and so forth.
So, a horror comedy.
It's based off of a 2019 short film of the same name. That's all I can give you. The next
I hope it's
one,
not a monster in their pocket.
The next one is
My Pet Monster.
Monkey Man. It comes out...
Which is not a horror movie.
Yeah, it's not. It comes out on April 5th of this year. And it is about...
So if it's not a horror movie, why are we talking about it?
It's basically like John Wick, but with Dev Patel in it.
Like I said again, I really wish they would learn how to separate thriller from horror. So
again, this isn't our fault. You can't say this is clickbait or anything like that because we got these off of Google. If you look at the
write-up, which we're going to read the write-up, but even then you're going to say, how the hell did Google classify this as horror? But
again, I said it's probably the same classifications of the people that put Die Hard in as a Christmas movie.
Which it isn't.
Okay, this one says a young man ekes out a meager living in an underground fight club where, night after night, wearing a gorilla mask, he's beaten bloody by more popular fighters for cash. After years of suppressed rage, he discovers a way to infiltrate the enclave of the city's sinister elite. As his childhood trauma boils over, his mysteriously scarred hands unleash an explosive campaign of retribution to settle the score with the men who took everything from him. Does not sound like a freaking horror movie
That's
to me.
not a horror movie at
I'm
all.
saying, might want to watch it just because of the storyline, but that ain't no horror movie. I'm sorry.
Google
It kind of
needs
sounds
to
like a
get
cross
the
between
shit
John Wick
together.
and The Punisher.
Yeah, that's no horror movie. I'm sorry.
Alright, this one is a horror movie, and it's called Camp Pleasant Lake, and it was released on February 27th of this year. And it's about strange events plague a couple when they open a camp on a haunted site that connects them to a 20-year-old mystery involving a missing girl and a brutal crime.
Sounds like they may be running into a little bit of Jason Voorhees or something.
This one has no fucking description at all. Not
Or
even
just pass it, don't even.
It's called The Cursed Land, but we have no description on it. It just says it comes out on January 28th of... No, it came out on January 28th of this year. So, if you watched it, cool. If you didn't, I don't care. Lampier?
I would say Lampier, but I don't know.
It's an Indonesian movie, and it came out on February 14th of this year in Indonesia.
Valentine's Day.
So, I don't know if it's available to see in the United States.
I will tell you this much. Gabriella and I, one night, we were in a horror movie mood, and we started pulling up these Indonesian movies, and I'm telling you what, they know how to make freaking good movies.
They are excellent.
They know the scare factor, they know the gore factor, they know the jump scare factor, they know all that. They know how to combine to get you. So if you want to watch some good movies, pull up some Indonesian ones.
And they do it in such a way that it has a very good flow. You don't get too much of one aspect of a particular...
Just, if you watch one called Susanna, good movie, real good movie, it is, but there's a lady in it, Susanna, and she does this like cackling thing, and they obviously think that it's scary and creepy. It's annoying, so a little spoiler alert there for you.
Yeah.
But to continue.
It's based on the legend of Mac Lampier, a ghost woman who desires eternal beauty. And that's all it says.
Okay.
The description of it. This one is also a sequel to something.
Something, yeah.
It's called Stree II. It comes out on August 30th of this year.
But this one's a comedy horror, and it says it's the 4th installment in the Maddox Supernatural universe. So if anybody's familiar with that, that is what that one is pertaining to.
I can honestly say I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, we're probably not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
So.
Probably not, no.
And last but not least is also another Indonesian movie. It's called Munkar. I think. Munkar. It came out in Indonesia on February 7th of this year. So I don't know if it's available in the United States or not. And it doesn't look like there's any description on it. So...
Okay, so with that being said, with all of those, we're going to get to Eric. Now, again, Eric's going to be covering prequels, sequels, reboots, remakes, all that. I don't know what all you guys feel about it. Before Eric gets into it, I'm going to say some of them I think, yeah, I can't wait till the next one comes out. Some of them was, did they really have to do that? And one of the perfect examples is The Terrifier.
Oh, we'll get to that.
But let's get Eric can start.
Okay, so the first one I want to talk about is a movie that's scheduled to come out. Well, it's not supposed to come out until sometime next year, but it is Final Destination 6. The title of it is Final Destination Bloodlines. They're not really saying a whole lot about the movie except that it might center around a group of first responders.
But isn't it supposed to be on a boat, a yacht, or something?
That's what I thought too, but I didn't really see anything about
they
that, so I'm not
showed
sure
it
if they
in the
may.
description. That's.
I wonder if it was. But yeah, I'm actually kind of looking forward to this in a way, though I'm kind of a little bit nervous too because of the way for those of you that don't know, there's been 5 previous Final Destination movies. First 2 were good in my opinion. The third one was lousy. They kind of rescued a little bit with the fourth one. The fifth one was kind of alright, but it was cool because it was the sequel, but it was also kind of a prequel.
Yeah. Well, the third one, getting back to the third one, I think that one, it had a good storyline too, but I think that they rushed to hurry up and get one out, and they kind of made it a hot mess. They focused more
They
on
missed the point.
just the killings and the gore, and that they didn't really focus on the original storyline.
Yeah, and they completely missed the point of the first 2 movies.
Yeah.
They did rely too much on the gore and also the TNA factor, and it was unnecessary too.
I agree.
So, I mean...
You agree?
I agree.
And another one I want to talk about, which was one of the first movies that we mentioned, was the first Omen. Now, I did watch I didn't particularly watch the trailer for the movie, but I did watch a commercial on I did watch a commercial of it on TV, and it's one of those where they feel the need to put audience reactions in it. And for those of you that are familiar,
Now, what did you say? Is this is a prequel? You said too that
this is this takes place before the events of
Damien.
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, and I watched the commercial for it, and they had a lot of the supposed audience reactions, which, if you're a person that makes a scary movie and you feel the need to put audience reactions, then your movie's probably gonna suck.
Well, and if you get back to like the original Omen, at that time they knew how to get they didn't have to focus on the gore and the TNA and all that. They knew how to get to the scare factor of the movies, and of course anybody that knows anything about Omen, it focused around this kid that was born that was evil, and they found out that he had mark of the devil, the 666, on his head. And,
the original was a classic.
Yeah, and it is. It had Gregory Peck in it, didn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah, Gregory Peck, and who was the female? Oh, shit.
Oh, I can never.
I remember her name. I can't remember.
I know who, but I don't.
You want to say classic? Go watch the original Omen, and then you can decide if you want to see the prequel.
Now, the next one I want to talk about, which kind of goes along because I'm an avid video game player, and this is Return to Silent Hill. And supposedly, Return to Silent Hill is going to go along the same lines as Silent Hill 2, the game for the PlayStation. And it centers around a man named James Sunderland who just recently lost his wife, which this really shouldn't be a spoiler for those that played the second game, but it is centered around the second game, which is kind of weird because if you watch the Silent Hill movies, the first Silent Hill movie, the main protagonist was a female, and it had Pyramid Head in, which is weird because Pyramid Head is actually James Sunderland's monster.
I really didn't pay attention to Silent Hill, so you're kind of
And
on your own on that one.
The second movie is actually based off the third game, but the third movie is based off the second game. But in my opinion, Silent Hill 2 is probably the best Silent Hill game. So I'm really looking forward to this
Now, if I'm not mistaken, Pennsylvania in particular, to kind of get off the subject, but it ties in with, Pennsylvania is pretty good for having some nice locations for horror movies. If you take Night of the Living Dead, the original, of course, I was there around Pittsburgh, PA. It was Evans. Where was that?
That was like up the road where
yeah,
we used
it's
to live.
not. Yeah, it's not too far from where we used to live. That's where that place was filmed. Of course, I had Chili Billy Cardilli. If anybody knows who he is, he used to be a reporter from the Pittsburgh news station. That was filmed in Pennsylvania. Derry, PA, inspiration for Stephen King's It movies, which there was a newer It movie that was just out, which I love Stephen King to death, but I'm sorry, Pennywise is not scary. It is not scary. Only thing about it, well, no, I'm not even going to go. It was not scary.
Yeah, that's not...
But that was in Derry, PA. And if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong, I'd have to do more research. If I'm not mistaken, I think Silent Hill movies was, the inspiration was from Centralia, Pennsylvania, which is a whole town in Pennsylvania that has been on fire, has been burning for forever, and it's still burning. I think there's only like a couple people that still reside there, but You have to go in with mask on. It's all toxic from the fumes and everything. But
And she's absolutely right. The Centralia, Pennsylvania is the inspiration for the Silent
Yeah,
Hill games.
yeah.
And if you go to, like, for those that are old enough to have lived in Centralia before and after the disaster, they say now it's like a separate world, and that's the whole idea of Silent Hill. You go into this real dark, separate
we,
world.
as investigators, I would like to go there, but they do caution you because, like I said, with it still burning and that, you would have to go in there with mask on, and it would be interesting to see what kind of activity in that there's there because there's a lot of history.
I'm sure there's a lot of that, especially that poisonous gas that's
Yeah.
coming up on
Yeah,
it.
so some history there.
The next one I want to talk about, which my mom and Gabbo talk more about this more than I do because I don't really. I'm going to be talking about A Quiet Place Day 1, which is actually a prequel to A Quiet Place, and it's going to star Joseph Quinn in it, that's from Stranger Things fame as Eddie Munson. Now, I'm not really a particularly big fan of the A Quiet Place movies, but I do want to see it just because of him. I know my mom and Gabbo like the movie.
I didn't mind them. I'm not saying I'm a big fan of them. I didn't mind them. I just think that they could have won a little bit more. I don't even know how to say it. I think the direction that they went in, they could have elaborated a little bit more on it, but they seem to always cut it off too short just as the plot was getting really, really good on it. Like, they ended it, and they probably did that purposely because they knew they were going to make sequels.
I agree. I really don't know what more they can do with it, or I'm kind of excited to see, like, where they go with it and how it all started, because that's basically what it's going to be about. I haven't seen any of the trailers or anything for it, but it's literally called The Quiet Place Day 1.
I
so
saw
I'm
one
assuming,
hint of a trailer, so
I'm assuming that means that it's about how everything started and why everybody has to be quiet from these creatures. And
how they came about.
And everything like that, so.
And it also stars Jamon Hounsou, Alex Wolff, and Lupita Nyong'o in it too. I'm not sure if any of you know. I know who they are, especially Alex Wolff. He's from Jumanji. He was the geeky kid. What's his name? Sheldon?
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What was his name?
Who?
The geeky kid from Jumanji.
The nerd.
Oh,
I can't remember his name.
I'm drawing a blank.
Oh, damn.
Spencer.
Spencer, yeah, he played Spencer. Lupita Nyong'o was the voice of Maz Kanata from Star Wars, and Jamon Hounsou is a well-respected actor. He's been nominated for several awards and that, so.
As many times as we've watched Jumanji, you'd think that.
Well, you always get that brain fart. You know, you've
That's
seen
right.
them so much and you know them so well, and then when you really need to speak their name, it's like, what was her name again? Like who played with Gregory Peck in the original Omen.
Lee something. Lee
can't remember.
Lee something. I just looked it up like 2
Yeah.
seconds ago and I don't
But
remember.
Lee Remick? Was that
I think
him?
so.
Yeah, Lee Remick.
I think.
But go ahead, Eric. On to the next.
So the next one I want to talk about is one that we're all excited about, and I'm not really sure if you want to consider it
Lee
horror, although it kind of is because it's from the mind of Tim Burton, which he's kind of freaky as it is, and we're going to be talking just a little bit about Beetlejuice. This is, of course, the sequel to the movie that came out in 1989. Michael Keaton will be reprising his role as Beetlejuice. Winona Ryder will be coming back as Lydia Dietz. Jenna Ortega will be playing her daughter. Catherine O'Hara is coming back as the mother.
Mrs. Dietz, whatever her name was. What was her name? Dietz. Oh, crap.
I'm drawing blanks for characters today.
Yeah, I am too. I can hear Otho saying, and the one.
Isn't it Barbara? No.
No. Oh, shit. Because I remember the guy saying, I lost so much on you. Like, how did he say that?
What, the red-haired lady?
Yeah.
Yeah, the mother.
What was her first name? We would be toopy tonight. Just go ahead.
But anyway, she's going to be in it. She plays Lydia's mom. And also, Willem Dafoe is another one, like Nosferatu. Willem Dafoe is going to be in this one, too. He's playing an unspecified role, and Monica Bellucci will be playing Beetlejuice's wife.
Now, there
But we haven't
was
seen her
rumor there
yet.
for a long while that Johnny Depp was supposed to be in there, which would have been quite interesting to see him reunited with
Delia.
Delia
Delia.
Deetz.
Delia. Which I could hear him saying that to her on there, but I just it's
I think if what happened to Johnny Depp didn't happen, he would have most certainly been in this movie.
Yeah.
But I just think Tim Burton just like, I'm not touching this with an 80-foot pole, so we're kind of missing out on Johnny Depp and Beetlejuice.
It would have been interesting to
unfortunately.
see how him and Winona reacted to each other, since that was pretty much the love of his life. But
Yeah,
whatever,
that was
it's
a big
gonna.
thing
I
back in the
believe
day.
that Beetlejuice will be good, and we will watch it, and we will give you an update what we think about it.
Okay, so I think I'm gonna go ahead. Let's just get this
it
out of the
over
way. Freaking Terrifier 3. I watched a teaser trailer for this movie, and if people think that a little girl coming down the steps on Christmas morning and seeing some whack job with an axe and cackling some kind of goon is scary.
Art the clown in it, they set him up, they gave him that real silly, creepy grin of his, that look on his face, and folks, I don't know what, I don't know why you guys come out and you think he's so scary and those movies are scary. Number one, the gore in it. Yeah, they put a lot of gore in the movie, but I could create something with Play-Doh that would look gorier than anything on that movie. The one scene in part 2 where there was brain matter and everything, it looked like somebody got a candle and said, oh, I'm going to shape this into a brain, I'm going to mount the candle, have it drip, and come on folks, there's nothing scary at all. The scariest thing in Terrifier 2 I found was the little creepy girl that was in it. But other than that, if that's your forte and you like
what's
that
her name,
kind of
Victoria?
I think it probably was.
Yeah,
I can't
because
remember because I don't want to remember anything about those movies.
Because David Howard Thornton and Samantha Scafidi, the two main characters in the previous Terrifier, will be reprising their roles in Terrifier 3.
I'm telling you, if you like it, all the more power to you. That's great and all, but really, they're stupid. The gore sucks. They're not scary. They're not very well made. Therefore,
it's basically the horror genre version of Sharknado.
or I'm gonna use paranormal, since we're in the paranormal field. It's their version of Zach Bagan. Everything's fake and stupid.
No, that's an insult to Terrifier
So
right
I had to go there. That just, come on. That I cannot find anything likable whatsoever. Anything likable, anything scary, anything gory whatsoever about the Terrifier movies. They're just a waste of film.
Now the next movie I'm going to be talking about is my next most anticipated movie other than Furiosa, which Furiosa is a Mad Max movie, which is not horror. That's a totally separate thing. But this movie I cannot wait to see. It is Alien Romulus. It's going to be coming out on August 16th of this year. It stars Kaylee Spaney, David Johnson, and Isabella Merced, up-and-coming actors. Which, right away, that's what I like. I like no big-name people and then give other people a chance. But basically, which I guess you can read parts of the synopsis of this movie, which I'm going to avoid like heck because I don't want to be spoiled. But basically, it just says, young people in a distant world find themselves confronting the most terrifying life form in the universe. Now there is a teaser trailer that came out on Wednesday, this past Wednesday. It's only a minute long, but my god, it's one of the best teaser trailers I've ever seen. And it has the atmosphere. You get to see just enough of the aliens to get like.
What are the aliens going to be in this movie, like the original ones, or are they going to be vamped up?
They're going to be. It's
vamped up versions.
Mm-hmm. Like the one scene which you only get to really see the adult xenomorph until the end of it, but it looks like a cross between like the aliens from the first two movies. which I'm kind of hoping it leans towards the second movie because aliens in that look freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And there's also a scene in the teaser trailer where I don't know who it was, but they end up being chased like a swarm of face huggers, and I'm like, oh my god.
Well, I'm a big fan of the Alien movies too, and Aliens I loved. I wasn't like the one where they were at the prison camp. I can't remember what that one was called. It was okay, but
that
I
used to
wasn't.
be my least favorite.
I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't a. It's all right. But I'm not a big fan of that. And the one that had Winona Ryder in it.
Resurrection.
Yeah,
I liked Resurrection.
See, I don't know. Those were a little off to me. I mean, I didn't dislike them. It's just that they weren't in with Alien 1 and Aliens. The Alien and Aliens. I mean, and how could you not love Little Newt?
Yeah.
And, come on.
No,
But
the one Alien movie I could not stand with is the one that came out most recently, Alien Covenant. I'm not sure how much you remember about.
I don't remember because it sucked.
It was.
It really wasn't good.
It was supposed to be a sequel to Prometheus, which was a prequel to Alien, but it just felt like a really bad attempt at a reboot of the Alien series. They just went, which is weird because it was directed by the same guy that did the original Alien, Ridley Scott, but it's almost like he forgot the original movie.
But see, that's where we're going when we're talking about these sequels. There's sequels where you can carry that factor through each one. You can't wait. It's like a good Stephen King book that has different chapters and different books to the series. You can't wait. Oh my God. Oh no, I have to wait another month for this other part to come out. A good sequel or a good prequel, whatever, to any of these movies, if it has that factor about it, then it's going to be good. Normal cases. But then you get some of these that they get and they're like, okay, my audience is waiting, and they throw it together so quickly, and it ends up being probably the worst piece of shit that you could see because they didn't think about it.
That's what Covenant felt like, because if they were gone along the same lines as Prometheus, explored a little bit more about the black goo and what kind of creatures it turns into, it would have been great, but forced the
That's kind of what happened in Final Destination too. 1 and 2 was fantastic. When they got to 3, they're like, okay, we know we need to get another one out. Our audience is waiting for it. We'll just throw TNA out in blood and gore.
Yeah,
and it kind of turned into a hot mess and pulled away from the original. But get back to your list.
Okay, so the next one. So the next one I want to talk about is Saw 11, which of course is the 11th installment of Saw. It is supposed to be. We really don't know if it's going to be a direct sequel to Saw 10, which was like a prequel that took place between 1 and 2, or it could be a direct sequel to Spiral, which had Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson.
I'm not sure what I thought of number 10. Like, I liked Spiral, but 10 kind of
Was that the one that just came out?
Yeah. I'm kind of like up in the air about that one. I can't say I don't like it because there's parts in there and storyline in there that's really good, but then there's stuff in there too that they're like, did they really do that?
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm just sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, you need to speak too.
I'm not saying that I was disappointed in it, but it was a little disappointing in certain spectrums of it. And I can't really go on to say why, because that'll be like super spoilers, and I don't know who've seen it or not. But the plot was good, and the gore scenes were fantastic. It's just parts of it that was just like, did that really have to be in there, or did they have to include that?
It's one of the parts of the series that you're there, like, you wanted to watch it, you watched it, but it's not one of the parts that you're going to go back over and over again and rewatch. You're going to be there like, I'm glad I saw that. It was good, it was okay, but it's not one that you want to go back and rewatch and rewatch and rewatch. Like, Spiral is good, you want to rewatch it. The other Saw movies I have to give, we were just talking about it the other day, the very first Saw, which started it all.
Oh, yeah.
We love
Classic.
it. Great movie, but Carrie Ellis in that movie almost blew it. If you watch him very close, of course everybody knows him as a comedic actor. And I think that was one of his first really, really intense, serious roles. and you can see points in there where he was almost ready to break down in laughter when he was filming, so he kind of almost blew it. But the movie itself was wonderful. You know, I'm glad that they came up with that and
Most
started
people
going.
nowadays definitely know him from Stranger Things as the bad guy.
Yeah, he was the
who worked
mayor.
with Russians.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can tell where he was about to burst out laughing in some of the scenes. Although I do gotta say that his acting has improved on Stranger Things because he was actually more
He was
serious.
better. He was better. He's learning. He came a long way from Princess Bride and the Saw movie. Like I said, if you watch it real close, kind of, you know, maybe a lot of you didn't catch that one because you're too busy watching the story.
Yeah.
But watch him real close, and you can see where like he almost broke out laughter a couple.
The more you
times.
watch,
Yeah.
the more you can
Yeah,
tell
yeah,
that he
you
was
can
like
pick up.
about
Yeah,
to burst
yeah.
out laughing.
So.
Yeah. And before I get into the next movie, I do want to give you guys my honest opinion about Saw 10. I'm not saying it was a bad movie. I'm just saying it shouldn't have been made because I'm personally getting really tired of these movie franchises playing it safe by bringing nostalgia into it. Like why did they feel the need to bring John Kramer and Amanda in it when Spiral went a whole completely different direction?
Mm-hmm.
It felt fresh. It felt new. It
Yeah.
was exciting.
Yeah.
I loved Spiral. That's actually one of my personal favorite Saw movie.
I
Saw
agree
10
on
played it
that.
safe.
I think
People
that
have got to stop playing it
Yeah.
safe.
And for those
yeah.
of you who don't know, Saw 10 is a prequel to all of them.
It gives you the storyline of how Kramer came about
And some of his inventions
yeah.
and so on and so forth.
So.
And I'm sorry, folks. I got bad news for you. Jigsaw and Amanda are not going to be around forever, so we can't keep on relying on making Saw movies based on those two. We need fresh ideas, but that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm going to go ahead and move to the next one because I'm getting kind of fired up right now. So one that's going to be coming out, which I don't even think we mentioned this one. It's scheduled to come out next year. The first one was a big hit, and it's called Megan 2.0, which is the sequel to Megan, which was about a doll that was, guess it was engineered with AI, you would call it, and she's supposed to be I watched the first movie, and it was alright.
It was good. It was good. That's another one that it went in the like Chucky line, and you know, My Best Friend Chucky, and you know, the good boy doll and all this stuff, and that, or the good guy, I think they called him. What makes that movie creepy, I think, with AI the way it is right now, modern times. I just watched a news clip here.
It's like the Terminator.
It was yesterday, and they were showing where they were building. They almost look like from the Terminator. They looked real. They had the fleshy tones to it.
And that's how the Terminator started.
Yeah,
Rubber skin.
they had the skeletal, the robotic skeletal, but they had the synthetic skin on top of them. They reacted. They could blink their eyes. They could move their mouths. They move their ears, like everything. It's just getting real creepy.
Yeah.
And
on top of that, Elon Musk freaking inserting chips into people's heads and having them like.
I'm
It's
sorry
getting
if you're
crazy.
stupid enough to get something installed into you. Like, you know, we're not a dog, we're not a cat. That if we get lost, we need a fucking chip in our head. If you need to get a chip in your head, which if you're biblical in any way, they said that's the mark, end of times. If you know that's not a good thing. If they start wanting to demand to put chips in your head and in your
The first human. Sorry, Eric.
No,
again.
go ahead.
The first human. Recently, Elon Musk inserted a chip in his head to where he said his life will never be the same again. And basically, it's supposed to help you, but it's also supposed to.
He needs help himself because Elon Musk is a piece of shit.
He's the village idiot's genius.
He
I don't
is
know
a
why
piece of
you would
shit.
want to create something to insert it inside someone's head.
But they're not okay with having a chip that gives you like your medical, which is bad enough. Like
Because
Mom
he
said, that's
probably
like a movie.
watched too many movies like freaking RoboCop and different stupid shit like that. And Elon Musk, with all the money that he's got, he thinks he's like a certain other person that we do not want to mention that thinks they're God and that everybody's supposed to bend down and kiss their ass and do everything that they want.
Yeah.
That's Elon Musk.
He's the dangerous kind of stupid because he's the kind of stupid that thinks he's a genius.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're kind of getting off
Yeah,
the topic.
like we
but
said, we're
just-
not going to go in that
It
direction.
has to do with AI. That's the
Yeah,
only reason
and
I
that's
brought
what
it
the
up.
scary part. So we don't know what Megan 2 is going to be like, but Megan 1 was good. I did enjoy the movie. I thought it had a lot of good factors to it.
Now the next movie, which is technically not a horror movie, but this is one I definitely want to talk about. I know there's a lot of people that has strong opinions about this movie, and that is the Crow remake that stars Bill Skarsgård in it, and of course he plays Eric Draven, which was a character that was played by the late and great Brandon Lee, who tragically lost his life during the making of the original one. And I think that's the thing that makes people upset about this remake, and people's like, why? Because they're not only is the original the classic, but Brandon Lee lost his life.
Yeah. Well,
during
you
the
know,
making of
and
that
Crow
movie.
2, I call that more of a thriller movie. It's kind
Oh,
of
it's
like...
awesome. A gothic thriller.
Yeah, it is. I really don't call that a horror movie.
I love that movie.
But it was. If you haven't seen The Crow, it's a true classic, wonderful movie. Watch it.
And here's another thing, too. Why are people remaking movies made famous by dead people? Same with Patrick Swayze.
Patrick Swayze.
They remade Dirty Dancing. They're remaking Roadhouse. They remade Point Break.
No.
What
Leave 'em alone.
a worse disservice
Yeah, leave them alone.
to an accomplished actor that tragically lost his life by remaking all their movies.
Yeah, like
That makes no sense to me.
like Fast and Furious. So they're still coming out with more of those, aren't they?
They're
Yeah.
supposed to have like 3 more, but the
One
last one did
actor-
so bad that they're not even sure they're even gonna make
I
them.
still say it's a rip-off of Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yeah, how can one movie be better than 10?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think that's very poor taste. You get an actor that's put their heart and soul into that, passed away, and you're still making more movies about that same thing, remakes,
Yep. Nope.
spin-offs, and everything else. That's just disrespect to the person who has lost their life, either during the making of the film or by natural causes.
I'll tell you what, I remember the day when Brandon Lee was killed. I was only 9 years old at the time, but it was a breaking news, and my heart broke because his dad passed away under mysterious circumstances, and here's his son that died. I think he was only like 32.
Yeah, he was young.
And breaking news, Brandon Lee shot dead.
I think that's what
making
gets
The
me,
Crow.
and I'm kind of sway around from what kind of gets me mad about where they're getting after, what's his name?
Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin. Like all this, like he should be charged with murder and this and that. Wait a minute, like he's not the one that he was given a prop, and like that would be like charging somebody, one of the people that actually shot Brandon Lee in it, and they didn't really know because there was so much gunfire in that scene. That was a prop. They need to try to find out who was responsible for allowing live ammo in the weapon, not the person that actually used the prop. Like,
And do people not understand the situation Alec Baldwin is to? Like, take for instance, I'm going back to The Crow, the actor that shot Brandon Lee,
he
Michael
used to live
Massey.
with that the rest of his life.
It took him almost 2 years to get over it, and even
Yeah.
now he said he won't even watch the movie. He's
Yeah.
like, I can't because I know
Yeah.
I'm the one that shot
I mean,
Brandon
Alex
Lee.
Baldwin has to live with that every day of his life. Like, you can't hold the person responsible. In that case, usually the person pulling the trigger is responsible. But when you're in a movie and you're using a prop, you go after the people who gave the prop to him that didn't check it, that if it had live ammo in it. But we're swaying off. Let's get to the next.
And another one I want to talk about, which right now it's just called The Conjuring 4, but I remember initially it was called The Conjuring: The Last Rites.
It's called The Last Rites.
so it is
yeah,
still called-
Yeah.
But it is supposed to be the final film in the whole Conjuring universe, from what I'm understanding. And it does have Patrick Wilson as Ed Warren and Vera Farmiga as Lorraine Warren. Those two will be coming back, and I'm hyped because it's supposed to tie everything, like Annabelle, the
And
main
that's what I was
series.
just going to say. You took the words out of my mouth. If you watch The Conjuring, you better watch the Annabelle series, the Nun series, all the Conjuring movies. They all tie in, and there's something in each movie that will go along with the other set of those movies. So.
And I'm very hype, and I know we're all hype
yeah.
about the Conjuring. We love the
Yeah,
Conjuring
yeah.
movies. I think that the Conjuring series is like the last great horror series.
And I agree, because it's one of those movies they did well, because they give that scare factor. They give that some of them has like the jump scenes. They tie in. They have the gory, but not too gory, where you're like, oh, give me a break. That's really stupid.
Yeah.
They have all the combinations of a good horror movie.
And they're genuine. No cheap jump scares. No nonsense.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And as paranormal investigators, I think we appreciate those movies even more, because we know we could very well, which I'm hoping we don't, we could very well see something or
But we
experience
do want
something.
to talk about that.
Yeah.
One of these future episodes, there was an investigation, and I'm not going to go too much into detail on it. And please give your input. If you're watching this whole thing, I hope you watch our whole videos. I hope so. But if you get to this part in the video, please let us know if you enjoyed our Cody and Satori and our little discussion at the end of that about our investigations. But there is an investigation that we did about almost a month ago, and it was a really good investigation. We don't want to scrap it, but there's kind of some back and forth on whether we should release it, some of it. I think we should release at least maybe half an hour of it. Regardless, let's get back. The claim at the place we were investigating is that the audio was affected in their cameras and their anything that had audio. Ironically, when we went to investigate this place, we didn't have any indication, but our audio for the entire video completely went, and even Eric had a body cam on. The audio went halfway through that one only. We still want to try to salvage. I did have a good EVP. I asked a question, and I got a very clear yes answer. We want to try to salvage it, but in that particular investigation, something happened to Gabriella and affected Eric also. If you want us to discuss this in an upcoming, please let us know, because we can talk about this and we can talk about our experiences. And
if you want us to talk about it, comment paranormal, #paranormal.
Yeah.
Just comment that and we'll know what you mean by that, and we'll talk about it and let you know what happened.
Because we've had experiences, like in that one there, let's put it this way, it was so bad that she cried, she had a very bad panic attack, and Eric said that if they would have stayed in one area, and we're not going to disclose this place, hopefully we're hoping we can get to go back there again since we lost all the audio, but Eric said if we wouldn't have got out of that area when we did, he feels the same thing would have happened to him that happened to her. And she felt like if we were there for maybe another couple minutes, she almost felt like she could have got overtaken by whatever was there. Something not good was not going to happen. Let's just put it that way. But go back to this now and just let us know. #paranormal.
Yeah. And I'm only going to, I don't know how long we're recording this, but I'm only going to mention a couple more movies, just a little bit further input on it. First one I'm going to be talking about is Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, which we've seen the first movie, and quite frankly, I don't know how the hell the second movie got greenlit.
Some people like that kind of stuff because it was so fucking dippy that, they're like, oh my gosh.
There was one good scene in there, and it was a kill scene. There was one good scene. That was it. Everything else was just, why? Why would you make something?
It's like they didn't even try with. I know they were trying to turn into horror. That's like they didn't even try with it.
And I think that's with the Mickey Mouse one that's coming out. I think they're going to make it so
Mickey
dippy,
Mouse
and it's
Clubhouse.
And the plot was weird too. It was like,
well, you talk about Winnie the Pooh, right?
yeah.
Well, Eeyore got killed in that, but they killed and ate him, I think.
And wasn't, be a spoiler, the bunny, the whole In that movie, wasn't there like a bunny that was part of that movie or something too?
Yeah, we're talking about Winnie the Pooh.
No, I know, but wasn't there like a bunny character that was along with Winnie?
No, it was
No.
Winnie.
Okay, for some reason I was thinking
No.
that there was.
But-
I must be thinking of something else.
Because he was.
The movie
Oh
was
no,
stupid.
you're probably thinking of Piglet. I think Piglet was
Yeah,
in
Piglet
there.
was part of it.
Maybe that's what I was saying. Piglet.
But
It was
regardless,
Piglet.
it was
Piglet. I don't know
a
why I thought bunny.
really weird movie, and
Yeah.
there was one good gore scene in it, and the plot sucked.
Yeah.
It was just no.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. You might like that stuff, so we won't tell you not to watch it. But if you like that kind of dippy shit, watch it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think they pretty much summed it up succinctly.
You're gonna find
because
out with the three of us, we're big horror movie fans, and it takes a lot for us to say that's a damn good movie. And
That's
I'm
like me
sorry.
with movies in general. I've kind of become a I know there's a YouTube channel called Cinema Snob, but I think I'm kind of becoming a cinema snob myself because I'm watching some of these movies and I'm like, what the
Well,
hell?
that's like me. I'm a big Stephen King fan, and I love Stephen King movies, but some of his movies, well, he even said himself, I find it stupid. I just don't like the movie It. And there's some of his other ones. Dreamcatcher.
I want to be a
Dreamcatcher
fly on the
was-
wall what he thought about Dreamcatcher.
Yeah, Dreamcatcher was. It looked like
Because
the guy
that
was vomiting a big turd out of his mouth or something in one scene or whatever.
It was a shit
yeah, it
show
was
with
like-
a capital
It
S.
was. It was so. But
Not
let's
seen
go.
that. Thank God.
It's
That's
it was a
disgusting.
hot mess. Let's just put it that way.
And I think the last one I'm going to be mentioning here, well, one that I can have some kind of input in it. Well, actually I could bring up two, but I think I'm just going to mention Witchboard.
Mm.
Now that is the remake of the 1986 movie. The new one's starring Jamie Campbell Bower, who plays Vecna in Stranger Things, and also stars Madison Eisman, who played Bethany in the new Jumanji movies. And from what I've been reading, it's supposed to be, well, it is a remake of the 1986, but it's supposed to dive a little bit more into how they got.
Well, I'm hoping they do it justice because I'm telling you what, I'm a big fan of the Witchboard movies. And me personally, that had all those wonderful old horror movie factors in it. It had that you were at the edge of your seat, you didn't know what was going to happen next. It had that scare factor. It had that like you're setting you're clenching your fist like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen. It's like everything about a good horror movie. It was a true classic.
I'm going to ask a really stupid question. Witchboard is the one that had Tawny Katane in it, right? Okay.
Yes.
I do remember that.
Yep.
Rest in peace, Tawny Katane, by the way.
Tawny Katane was in it. Steve, what's his Steve Johnson? I don't know what his real name, but he played Patch in Young and the Restless.
Oh, Stephen Nichols.
Stephen Nichols. I knew his first name was Steve. I just couldn't.
Oh, I
think.
like Stephen.
He played
I like
Steve
Patch
Johnson.
on Days of Our Lives.
Patch on Days of Our Lives. I said Young and Restless. Days of Our Lives. He was
also
hooked
on
up
General
with
Hospital.
Kayla. If you're a big fan of his, I think that's why I watched it, because at that time I was a big fan of Days of Our Lives. I used to watch it a lot. And
Patch was one of our favorite characters.
yeah,
in
he
that
was. I
particular
loved
soap
Patch.
opera.
And
yes, I did watch Days of Our Lives, and I'm not ashamed to admit that.
and the storyline, and it's one of them too that makes you think, like, I don't know. I mean, they definitely did their research. And the movie based on, like, talking about, of course, the use of a Ouija board, witch board, and how dangerous it is, or it could be, if you use it by yourself.
And I think that's because you mentioned how amazing it is too, because it's kind of timeless in a way, because the movie's going on almost 40 years old, but yet the same stuff applies back
If
then
you
to what it
watch that
does now.
movie, I mean, it's an older movie, but I'm telling you, you watched it, you remember it, right?
I don't remember it, but I know I watched
I-
it.
It's a good movie. You really watch it. It's an older movie. It's another one. They did have some gore and stuff in it, but they didn't. It wasn't their factor. They really. It was like the Final Destination ones, and that it was one of them. The things happen, and when you're done watching, you're like, oh shit, this. Could this actually happen? It was one of those movies that lets you thinking at the end, and it leaves you with that feeling like, oh, fuck, if I mess with a Ouija board by myself, is this a possibility? So, it's a really good, and part 2 was just as good as part 1. So.
And they do have that rewatchability factor too,
They
because
do.
there is some stuff in like you watch the first time that you're not gonna notice right away, and you're freaked out as it is. Like Mom said, you're freaked out because it could actually happen. But if you watch it again, you'll notice even more things. You're like, oh shit.
Yep.
So.
Yep. It was just amazing. It was very well written.
Oh, absolutely.
It was very well directed. The cast was phenomenal in it. The storyline was incredible. I would suggest watch it. Other movies, I don't know what more, if he has any on there, but other movies too, I'm going to tell you to watch. If we said before, Indonesian movies, watch the Doll movies, watch the Sabrina movies, watch the Third Eye movies.
Yes.
Those are all good movies.
They are fantastic.
And they know how to make movies. Another one, watch, I don't know if I'd call it a horror or a thriller, but there's a movie out called Martyrs. Very, very, very good movie, but you're only going to want to watch it once. Because when you watch that movie, you're going to say, what the did I just watch?
I honestly could not finish watching it. It was that disturbing.
It was
but you need to see it.
Yeah, it was very, very, very disturbing. But it makes you wonder, like, what are these people doing? Are people out there? It has to do. I'm going to give you a little bit of a spoiler. Afterlife. I'm just going to say Afterlife, and it's very intense. It's.
I'll give. It's kind of 2 spoilers. Rich people afterlife.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
It is very, 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 very disturbing. So if you get through the movie, kudos to you. We did get through the movie, but it does leave you scarred after that, because it is that disturbing, and you wonder, hey, could this? Are people doing this kind of stuff? That's along the line too. My oldest daughter watched the Serbian movie. She said, watch the Serbian movie. I won't. I read the write-up on it. I read that there was a whole 1 to 2 minute scene that in the United States they had to take it out, and then it was put back in, I guess, and it's just.
I really don't know.
I can't.
Watch that.
I can't.
The write-up on it is just horrible.
Yeah, just read the write-up on it and make your own decision, but a lot of people swear that's the best horror movie ever. I'm not even going to touch it. Another one, before he gets back, Human Centipede. I'm going to say I'm glad that I saw them. They are also very disturbing. Part 1 and 2 went hand in hand with each other. Part 3, I watched it just to say I watched it, but it didn't have anything more or less. It was just all based on sex and disgusting, pervert, prison warden, and it just, I didn't want to discuss it because it was just that disgusting and that horrible, but just to say that I watched the 3 of them was enough.
See, I only ever watched the first Human Centipede, and I watched bits and pieces of the second one, and I'm like, that's enough.
They went kind of hand in hand. The second one was not to me quite as disturbing as part 1, but part 3 was most disturbing, and it wasn't because of even what they did. It was because of the warden in it and the sexual stuff that went on in there, and it was. I regret watching it because that scarred me, but at the same time, I can say, hey, I watched the Human Centipede series, but yeah, okay.
And you know what's another series that's not nearly as bad as Human Centipede? That's also very disturbing because it probably is happening in real life. The Hostel movies.
Oh my goodness, the Hostel movies.
Those are good movies, but my God, I mean.
I can guarantee you, there's that goes on.
Anybody that has a sister, a daughter, a mother. It's just the whole sex.
It goes kind of like with Liam Neeson's take, and you watch when your kids go alone, especially overseas, because they go in the wrong place at the right time, they're gonna be in trouble. And those movies took it to a whole other level. With the gore, with the stuff that happened, and it goes back to, like Gabriella said just about 10 minutes ago, if you got this stuff right here, this green stuff, and you're high accountability and high up in the, what do you want to say,
you're like in the
prestige, the upper
caste.
Yep.
Of
then
society.
you can get away with pretty much everything because money speaks. But
Yeah.
go ahead. Is there any other ones that you want to speak about?
I think that's pretty much it. Oh well, but we got the Wolfman remake coming out. I don't really. It's supposed to be a remake of the 1940s Wolfman. The most recent one I remember is the one that had Benicio del Toro in it. And there was also another Wolf movie. It was called Wolf with Jack Nicholson. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I never watched that one though. Well, bits and pieces of it I think I watched, but
fantastic movie. It was a tearjerker. I will say that. It was very very much a tearjerker. Jack Nicholson was awesome in it.
Well, it goes like the same with the vampire movies. I don't know what Nosferatu is going to be like, but if you go and there was an interview with the vampire, what was the other one? There was like The Lost Boys, which is a true classic.
Lost Boys was good.
Fright Night, which was a good one.
Was good.
Very good. But if you want to go on the true Dracula stories, the best one that I saw was Dracula the Untold.
Yeah.
And that was probably the best in-depth. It explained how he came about, how he kind of regretted all of it, but it was already too late for him. Really in-depth, whole, very incredible story of Dracula. So if you're into the vampire movies, I'd say go watch that movie.
I'll tell you what, the guy that they have, the two guys that they played, Luke Evans that played Dracula himself, and then they had Charles Dance that played the older vampire that turned him into Dracula. Those two were fantastic in that movie, and my only real gripe about Dracula Untold was that I was a little bit on the short side.
Pee-wee, get him away from there.
I'm trying.
Pee-wee, you're covering up the goofball.
No, Dracula Untold was a little bit on the short side. It was only an hour and 20-minute long movie, but like my mom said, as good as a vampire movie as you're gonna watch. It was very well written. The acting was fantastic. The pacing in the movie was fantastic.
Everything about
the effects in it was both practical and a little bit of CGI.
I mean, we can go on and on
fantastic.
and on about a lot of movies. Like, I mean, there's going to be a remake of The Exorcist, I think, coming out.
Yeah, there's going to be, it's called Deceiver.
Yeah, so there's just like Hannibal Lecter, there's Silence of the Lambs, there's Hannibal, and that series is good. The Hellraiser series is good. So there's a lot of them like that. I mean, we can go on and on. That's another thing. If you like us discussing this and you want us to bring up more, but go to the older movies that we already seen that we can suggest to you to watch, please do #horror. And we'll do an episode of that coming up in the future. But I kind of think here with everything going on, because I think this one here is going to be a little bit over an hour and a half long.
Yeah, we're about an hour and 45
I'm going with my clock because the clock went off about 5 minutes or so after we just started. And it went off again, and I'm saying about an hour 35 minutes, an hour 40 minutes. So this one's going to be rather lengthy, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you watched it to the very, very end.
And I do apologize if my gut was a little bit loud, especially towards the first part of the video. I just get so excited when I talk about
I wouldn't care, but
movies
Tom
and
has to get up first. Like, I think
I do talk kind of loud,
but
that's just because I'm just so excited about. I mean, be a part of this podcast, talk about horror movies. I was pumped to do this.
So if you want to say, like I said, do #paranormal for us for paranormal talk about that investigation and some of the things that happened. Like I told you in our last episode, I believe that she's a little bit sensitive. I think there's something with me. I'm not going to say I'm sensitive or anything, but I've seen things and felt things, and things happened after that, and the kids can all verify that. I mean, I visioned Eric and Tom being in an accident before it happened, and it happened. Those type of things. But #paranormal, if you want us to do like older movie reviews and that of things that we've already seen that was the older genre, and classics and stuff, do #horror. And there's that gift card too. So if you want the gift card, again, find the video. It's not I'm going to say it's not our first video or so, but go back just a couple, and there's going to be something there you're going to spot, and you'll get a $10 gift card ready to go. As soon as I DM it to you, you can use it immediately. But with that said, since we're talking about the horror genre and movies and upcoming releases and that, I'm going to end with a quote from The Silence of the Lambs from 1991. And the quote is, "I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner." And if you watched it, yeah, you know what that is. So with that being said, let's tune in.
And peace out.